Hello, my name is Kevin Swan. I'm a product marketing manager for Micro Focus ArcSight. Today I'm going to be covering how ArcSight will help you with preemptive threat detection. First up, let's go through the agenda. We're going to be covering the risk of exposure, some of the key challenges that organizations have in preemptive threat detection, and then preemptive threat detection pieces like layered analytics, automation, and unified platform. All right, now let's go over why it's so important to detect these threats before it's too late. Now, in a study regarding insider-related incidents only, the total average cost was about $11.45 million for these organizations. And that's a lot of money, and obviously organizations don't want to be spending that much per incident. And then the time it took to resolve incidents, on average, was about 77 days. Obviously, about 2 months is too long to have these types of activities going on in the organization. Now, obviously, we want to decrease the time and costs involved with these insider-related incidents. So we need to know the root causes of this. And in a survey, 65% of respondents said that lack of IT visibility was a root cause for SOC ineffectiveness. So obviously that needs to be rectified, and there are a couple things that organizations can do to help with this problem. All right, so let's discuss some of the challenges that organizations have with getting their preemptive threat detection defenses up and ready in their organization. One of the first things is how threats are advancing. The attackers are getting sneakier. They're making more complex methods for getting inside the system and exfiltrating data. It's getting harder to detect and harder to sift out what's a true alert versus what's just regular activity. So that's one thing that we have to be aware of. One of the other things is that the analysts in a lot of these security operations centers, they're already overwhelmed. They're receiving alerts, hundreds of alerts, thousands of alerts, and a lot of times they don't have the manpower to follow up on everything as they would like to. So they do their best to prioritize them and then go after them as they have time. And then one of the other problems is not necessarily a lack of tools to see what's going on in the organization, but that the tools don't all work together. They're receiving all of these alerts from across the organization, but it's hard to put it into one cohesive whole that they can then derive some meaningful insights out of, and then hone in on the activities that really are suspicious. So that fragmented visibility is creating some problems. All right, so how do we prepare our organization to have this preemptive threat detection? First up, you need to have the right tools for the job. So you need to have a good idea of what you're facing. And then second, you need to build these defenses beforehand. Make sure everything's working together and properly built up and ready to go before they're needed. So I'm going to discuss how ArcSight helps with building that preemptive threat detection defense for your organization with 3 main points. First point being layered analytics, how multiple analytical methods are used to catch many different types of threats. Different threats have different things that help catch them and that are most effective. And so we don't believe that any one is well suited to catch them all. So we use multiple and we layer them. And then with that layering, we're able to combine the insights. We can verify that these events happened, that they're suspicious activity. And it really just helps with the defense overall. The second point is with automation. So these analysts are overwhelmed with alerts. And a lot of times security operations centers don't have enough analysts to go around. So by automating tasks throughout the organization, automating these security practices, actions, and reactions, then we can decrease the overload for the analysts. And we can start working in tandem with them and help them get the most efficient, make the most efficient use of their time. The third step is with the unified platform. By having one platform where all this data can go through and be used throughout the ArcSight portfolio, it will really help gain visibility across the organization. That way you're able to gain these insights throughout the organization and across these different products and different tools. Bring them all together so that it's really working for you rather than against you, especially with a shortage of analysts and time. Detecting advanced threats with layered analytics. So we know that advanced threats are one of the main problems that organizations face today. Threats are more complex, they're harder to find, harder to distinguish from the noise. So we use layered analytics to make sure that we can catch more and have a broader coverage through these different methods. The three main methods of these that we use are real-time correlation, behavior analytics and anomaly detection, and advanced threat hunting. So the first step with this layered analytics method that we use is real-time correlation. So real-time correlation uses rules and thresholds to determine what actions to take. The nice thing about it is that you can put these thresholds and rules in, and it works very, very quickly. So a lot of times companies, especially if they have high EPS, it's hard to sift through all that noise in real time. But through this real-time correlation, through SIM technology, it really makes it a lot easier, and it works well with known threats. And it's one of the main things that organizations should use today. The next portion of layered analytics is behavior analytics. So behavioral analytics is relatively new. It's been around for several years now, but essentially what you're doing is you're analyzing the behavior of your of employees, of users on the network, even with entities, so like printers and firewalls and other devices throughout the organization. You're able to analyze that behavior, and then you can detect when an anomaly has occurred, when they're doing something different or suspicious. It doesn't rely on indicators of compromise. It doesn't rely on known threats. It can actually detect things that are happening for the first time ever. As long as it's something that's anomalous, it will alert you to that. So it's very important that organizations nowadays, as threats are getting more complex, have this behavioral analytics tool in their toolkit. The third portion of our layered analytics is advanced threat hunting. So after you've got the first two with the real-time correlation, behavioral analytics, you've got pretty good coverage, but if you need to dive into the data and really start digging in to find out what happened or the extent of what happened, then you're going to need this advanced threat hunting. Organizations are saving more and more data, so if you're getting thousands and thousands of event logs per day, times this many weeks, this many months, or this many years, it gets pretty complex pretty quick. So through this advanced threat hunting with our technology, big data technology, it makes it a lot easier to gain insights through all that data. And then once you have those, you can use those insights all throughout the ArcSight portfolio. ArcSight uses automation to enhance your analyst's efficiency in a couple different ways, but I want to discuss how it does so through threat intelligence. So your analysts probably don't have time to comb through all the message boards and the security community to find the latest threats and the latest indicators of compromise themselves and then implement it throughout your organization. One of the best ways to get that information is through threat intelligence feeds. So with ArcSight, you can just hook that in. You can get it set up to auto refresh, and that way you'll always have the latest threat intelligence, and as threats are detected in the community, you will be equipped with that information in your organization. And better yet, if you're able to detect these breaches in your own organization first, you can upload that to these threat intelligence feeds and then help your neighbors so that they are also protected. One of the other ways that automation helps is through the SOAR integration. ArcSight recently acquired SOAR capability through ArcSight SOAR, and your organization, if you know that something, or if you know that a breach has occurred and a specific set of circumstances have occurred, you can organize the reaction and response before it ever happens. That way you're minimizing the exposure time. And you're making sure that your organization is well defended in those circumstances. ArcSight helps your organization gain comprehensive visibility with a unified platform. So we know that IT, or visibility into IT security infrastructure, is a big issue for organizations around the world. So we wanted to help with that. So we've got a unified platform now. Data comes in and is used all across the ArcSight platform. You don't have to store it in separate places. It can all be stored in one spot, and it's formatted and cleaned in such a way that it can be used very quickly. So it really just helps with all things security. We've also got a single unified interface that helps make sure that if you have an insight on one tool, you can click on that and then go view it in another tool. We've also got a dashboard where you can share these insights, post them for everybody to be aware of what's going on across the whole portfolio. We've got widgets to track these SOC metrics, and that way you can be sure that you're always on top of what's going on in your organization. So ArcSight enables your preemptive threat detection in multiple ways, as we've discussed. It optimizes your analyst time. It has the native automation capabilities to make sure that you're setting up these action and reaction as you see fit, and make sure that your organization reduces its exposure time. You've got the single pane of glass, so you've got all these insights coming together. You've got the widgets and the SOC metrics that you can stay on top of. And then elusive threat detection. You've got multiple methods of analytics to find those threats that are difficult to distinguish from everyday noise. And then from that, we've got a prioritized list of these events that need to be followed up on. So that brings us to the end of the video. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. Also, you can visit us at www.arcsight.com. If you're interested in preemptive threat detection, we've got a flyer and a video available for you. Also, be sure to check out our preemptive threat detection demo in the ArcSight demo area if you're watching here on Micro Focus Universe. But once again, thanks for watching.